Dr. King, before I get to what I think Dr. Martin Luther King did brilliantly, let's talk a little bit about the culture of the 60s. You talked about how it was out of control on all fronts and reflects today's culture in many ways.
Yes.
But it was, I mean, I don't think I've never considered going to jail before. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've never considered that. And my wife and I have had a conversation recently going, you know, I think these guys could just say, you know what, something happened, you caused it, get your butt in jail. And I started thinking about Martin Luther King. What was that like? Because you went to jail.
I actually went to jail, too. My Uncle Martin went to jail several times. My father, Reverend A.D. King, his brother, was jailed often, especially in Birmingham. And, you know, our home was bombed in Birmingham and all of that. When I went to jail, we were demonstrating and we were marching. And we had a covenant or an agreement that we would not be violent and that we would conduct ourselves in a certain way. One of my friends was thrown down by the police officers, and they began to kick her. And so I went to rescue her, and there actually was a tussle. And so in the midst of that, I went to jail, and I remember calling home crying, and I said, "Daddy, come and get me." He says, "No, why don't you just take the night in jail and think about what nonviolence really means?" And so I already knew, but after that, I further committed myself.
I mean, that's a good part.
I was very committed because Daddy meant it. My Uncle Martin meant it. So to live in a time when you were jailed just because of the color of your skin and having the courage, like the Tea Party people.
God bless you.
I pray they don't end up in jail, but, you know, speaking out with courage and conviction peacefully for what is right. And that's why they went to jail.
Back in just a second. How do you get people who just are still playing politics? When you saw dogs attack, everybody in America went, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right, right.
Well, what is it that it's going to take?
When people saw the dogs, the guns, and the billy clubs, and yet the face of my uncle, my father, and a little later my face, and there was love and compassion there, it caused the human hearts to begin to melt. So the media has a responsibility, and we can't let them totally get away because they have to let the truth be seen and be told. So we have to have shows like yours. We have to have internet streaming with truth out there. We have to have folks who are peacefully protesting, telling the truth. And the heart of America will begin to melt in the face of truth and charity.
I think the far-left media represents the dogs attacking the protesters.
Hey, the far-left media is going to have to start telling the truth.
The media did the same thing, though, in the 1960s.
They did for a very long time, and they would not report the truth. And finally, you had a few young members of the media who bravely began to say, they're telling the truth, we need to show this. And that's what happened.
All three of my guests, I can't thank you enough. God bless you. We'll be back. Final thoughts in a second.